The room was supposed to feel celebratory. Cameras flashed, reporters leaned forward, and microphones crowded the table like everyone was waiting for another clean, polished answer from the biggest name in women's basketball. But this time, something felt different. Caitlin Clark smiled at first, then the smile faded. One question turned into another. Not about her game, not about the rivalry everyone came to see, not about the pressure of carrying an entire league's spotlight on her shoulders. Instead, the conversation drifted somewhere else entirely, and the tension in the room changed instantly. You could see it in her eyes before she even answered. The pauses got longer. The reactions became sharper. Fans watching online immediately noticed it too, flooding social media with clips, claiming Clark looked exhausted, irritated, maybe even completely fed up. And now people everywhere are asking the same explosive question. Is Caitlin Clark finally reaching her breaking point with the media circus surrounding her every move? Nobody in that room expected the atmosphere to shift so fast. 1 second, Caitlin Clark looked like the same composed superstar fans had watched all season, calm, focused, media-trained beyond her years. The next, every answer started sounding shorter, colder, more controlled. And the more reporters pushed away from basketball and into the endless noise orbiting around her, the more obvious it became that something underneath the surface was starting to crack. It didn't happen with one explosive outburst. That's what made the moment so fascinating. There was no yelling, no dramatic walkout, no viral "I'm done" headline. Instead, it was the kind of frustration people recognize instantly because it leaks out in tiny ways. A tight smile, delayed response, eyes looking down before answering another question she clearly didn't want to hear again. And fans noticed. Immediately, within minutes, clips from the press conference exploded online. People slowed down her reactions frame by frame. Comment sections filled with the same observation over and over. Caitlin Clark looked tired of being asked everything except basketball for months. Clark has lived under a spotlight bigger than almost any rookie athlete in recent memory. Every game feels like a national event. Every foul becomes debate content. Every hard screen turns into a week-long social media war. But what's beginning to wear people down, including Clark herself, according to many fans, is how little attention sometimes stays on the actual game. Because when Clark walks off into a press room now, she isn't just answering questions as a player anymore. She's answering as the face of ratings spikes, ticket sales, league growth, cultural debates, online fan wars, endless comparisons, and increasingly, questions that seem designed more for headlines than honest basketball discussion. You could feel that pressure building long before this moment. At first, Clark handled everything almost perfectly. Even critics admitted that. She absorbed hard fouls without escalating. She answered loaded questions carefully. She smiled through controversy after controversy, while cameras followed every reaction she made on the court. But over time, the pattern became impossible to ignore. After huge performances, the conversation would somehow drift away from what she actually did during the game. One night, it became about rivalries. Another night, it became about physicality. Then came questions about league narratives, fan reactions, online arguments, treatment from veterans, officiating controversies, and nonstop off-court drama. The basketball itself kept getting buried underneath the spectacle. And that's where fans believe Clark's frustration is really coming from. Because from the outside, it increasingly looks like she wants to focus on basketball while the world around her keeps dragging her into something bigger and messier. The latest press conference only amplified that. Feeling. One reporter shifted the conversation away from the game again, asking about topics floating around social media instead of the actual performance everyone had just witnessed. Clark paused before answering, not a dramatic pause, but long enough for people to notice. Her expression changed almost instantly. She answered professionally. But there was visible irritation underneath the surface. Then came another question in a similar direction. Again, shorter response, another pause. Another. It's a tight smile. And suddenly the internet exploded with theories that Clark wasn't just annoyed in that moment. She was exhausted by the entire cycle surrounding her career. Sports analysts started debating whether the media has placed impossible expectations on her too quickly. Some argued this is simply what happens when an athlete becomes a global superstar. Others pushed back hard, saying Clark is carrying pressure that would mentally drain almost anyone, because think about what's happened in such a short time. She entered the league with historic attention already attached to her name. Arenas started selling out, television numbers jumped, opposing teams suddenly played in front of crowds they'd never seen before. Every road game turned into an event. Every interaction became content. That kind of attention sounds glamorous until you realize it also means there's almost nowhere to breathe. Every facial expression becomes analysis. Every emotional reaction becomes debate. Every sentence becomes a headline. And lately, fans think Clark has started realizing that no matter what she says, the conversation often gets twisted into something bigger. Then, basketball. That's why this latest moment hit differently. It wasn't anger people saw. It was fatigue. The kind of fatigue that comes from answering the same types of questions repeatedly, while trying to stay locked in as a professional athlete under extreme pressure. Even some former players began speaking out after the clips went viral. Several pointed out how draining it becomes when post-game discussions stop being about execution, strategy, teammates, or improvement and start revolving around narratives athletes can't fully control. One analyst even said the situation around Clark feels more like celebrity coverage than sports coverage now. And honestly, that's hard to argue against, because Clark isn't just being covered like a rookie basketball player anymore. She's being covered like a cultural lightning rod. Everything around her carries emotional weight now. Fans defend her aggressively. Critics analyze her aggressively. Neutral moments somehow become controversial within hours. That creates a dangerous environment for any athlete mentally, especially one still adapting to professional basketball. And despite all the noise, Clark's actual performances continue improving. That's the part many fans find most impressive. While the media storm grows louder around her, she still has to study defenses, build chemistry with teammates, survive physical games, handle travel exhaustion, and adjust to the speed of the league. That alone would overwhelm most rookies. But Clark's dealing with all of it while carrying one of the heaviest spotlights in modern sports, which is why some viewers interpreted her frustration not as weakness, but as a completely human response. Because eventually, anyone would get tired of walking into a room hoping to discuss basketball only to face another round of emotionally loaded narratives. The reaction online became incredibly divided after the clips spread. Supporters defended Clark immediately, arguing reporters were ignoring what actually mattered. They pointed out how often post-game interviews drift away from strategy and performance toward controversy-driven topics designed for viral engagement. Critics responded differently. Some claimed handling difficult media environments is part of being a superstar athlete. Others argued Clark's visible frustration could create even bigger headlines moving forward. But that's exactly the problem. Even conversations about her frustration instantly become another media cycle themselves, and the pressure keeps building. Meanwhile, inside the basketball world, many people quietly understand what's happening. Veteran athletes across multiple sports talk for years about the emotional exhaustion that comes from nonstop narrative-driven coverage. Eventually, it stops feeling like people are watching the sport itself. It starts feeling like they're watching reactions, drama, and conflicts surrounding the sport. Clark now appears caught directly in the center of that machine. And the scary part for many fans is that this may only be the beginning. Because the bigger she becomes, the more intense the attention will get. More cameras, more debate shows, more viral clips, more off-ball questions, more moments where basketball risks becoming secondary to spectacle. That's why this recent interaction resonated with so many viewers. People didn't just see an athlete answering questions. They saw someone trying very hard to stay composed while clearly feeling the weight of nonstop scrutiny, and whether people support her or criticize her. One thing has become impossible to deny. Caitlin Clark is no longer just playing basketball. She's navigating one of the most intense media spotlights in modern sports culture. Every answer matters. Every reaction matters. Every expression gets dissected. And now, for the first time, fans think they're starting to see visible signs that the pressure is genuinely getting to her. Not because she can't handle basketball, but because the circus surrounding basketball may be becoming impossible for anyone to fully escape. The biggest question now isn't whether Clark is frustrated, it's how long an athlete can remain emotionally guarded before those frustrations finally spill into public view completely. And judging by the reactions flooding the internet after this latest press conference, many people believe that moment may be getting closer than anyone expected. Caitlin Clark's rise has been unbelievable to watch. But moments like this remind everyone that behind the headlines, the pressure is very real. Every game, every interview, every reaction gets picked apart by millions of people searching for the next viral moment. And whether you agree with the media attention surrounding her or not, one thing is clear: the conversation around Clark, it's only getting bigger. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Caitlin Clark has every right to be frustrated with these nonstop off-ball questions? Or is this simply part of becoming the face of modern sports? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate is exploding everywhere right now. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Touchpoint Tales, and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest stories, controversies, and behind-the-scenes drama shaking up the sports world. Because, trust us, this story is far from over.